What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Vegas 7, Frankie Edgar versus Pedro Munhoz. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another breakdown and prediction video. This time we are breaking down UFC Vegas 7, and I mean, it's not the worst card in the world. I actually like some of these matchups on here. We got OSP, Menifield as the co-main event. Of course, we got Frankie Edgar coming down in weight to fight Pedro Munhoz. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. We have Maria Agapova on there. Very, very good prospect. And then Hubbard, Solecki's going to be a good fight. We have some good fights on here. I think this is a very sleeper card. I think people are really going to be surprised how this plays out. I think there's going to be a lot of fun fights. I think there's going to be a lot of fights that finish as well. But just want to get some shout outs. As you know, I did those contests last week. And first, I want to shout out Xander. Xander commented 219 significant strikes. If you guys don't know yet, but DC and Stipe combined for 220, so he was one away. Nobody was able to get it on the dot, but there were a couple people that were like 5 to 10 strikes away, but was able to contact Xander, get him his winning prize. And then Jay for the DraftKings contest, shout out to you, Jay. Went in there and won that contest, was able to get in contact with them. So congrats to you guys. Going to be doing another contest next month for UFC 253. So I'm really looking forward to that. But just a betting recap, getting to last week. And last week was a very tough card from a betting perspective. I really struggled to find some spots. And I know a lot of parlays got busted with Sean O'Malley losing, with Herbert Burns losing. But just going over some of my bets, Rosenstruck, I got him at minus 150. The line closed in towards a pick'em. I had 1.5 units on that. Really, really like that play. It seemed like I was going against the whole world in that play. It seemed like everybody was on JDS, but Rosenstruck was able to get that knockout. Merab Dvalishvili, got him at minus 135 to win by decision. It was my biggest play on the card, 2 units. Great play there. And then Stipe and Cormier going over 2.5 rounds, a fight that actually went to decision. Got that at minus 145, 1.5 units on that. So my 3 biggest plays on the card all cashed. Of course, we got to talk about the losses. Jim Miller, got him at plus money. I'm not mad about that pick at all. He even took Pichel's back in that first round. I thought he was going to get him. But took the L on that with a 1-unit bet. And then I also had O'Malley and Vera going to decision. There's a lot of talk about is the injury a fluke that happened to O'Malley and all that, but just would have liked to see how it would have played out if that didn't happen to O'Malley. But I guess the X-ray results came back negative, so that's good to hear for O'Malley there. But I did think it was going to go to decision, and I thought that if Vera won inside the distance, I thought it would be in the 3rd round. So I took a small 0.25 unit stab on Vera wins in round 3, so 2 rounds too late for that. But shout out to Vera, shout out to everybody who did bet Vera. So overall on the night, 1.27 unit profit, and on a card like that, I'm very happy to end inside the green. Hopefully you guys did good as well on this hard card. But getting back to this card, really looking forward to it. Gonna break it down. It's not the most exciting card, but I do think there are some sleeper fights on there. Before we get started, if you guys can like the video, it helps so much. If you guys can subscribe, I'm trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the time football season starts. If you guys are into NFL, I'm going to be doing some NFL content on here as well, so make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on that. You guys can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. I post my bets every Saturday. My DMs are always open if you guys have any questions. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm also on Instagram, DFS by the numbers. And I just want to remind you guys that I'm going live on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, as always, giving my final thoughts, talking some bets, talking some DraftKings, and talking the weigh-ins as well. And then, last Saturday I did my betting video where just kind of a little betting breakdown. So, tune in for that on Saturday as well. Just kind of a very condensed breakdown, giving my best bets for the card there. So with that said, we're going to get into this card, and we're going to start with Mark Striegel versus Timur Valiev. And I don't know, I think this is a good fight. Valiev is a pretty big favorite. I think minus 525 favorite, and I can see why. Watching tape on Striegel, I was impressed. I think he has some good wrestling. But overall, like on the feet, it's Valiev all day, and I think that's where this fight's primarily going to play out at, is on the feet. I can see Valiev maybe getting taken down a couple times, but I think he'll have no problem really, getting back up to his feet. I also saw Striegel make many mistakes on the mat with some lower level guys. That's really not going to slide against a guy like Valiev. I saw Striegel get reversed, get swept, and that's just not something that, Valiev is going to take advantage. That's something Valiev is going to take advantage of. So I do like Valiev to win this fight. I'm going to pick him to win by decision. But don't be surprised if, Striegel made Valiev not look like a minus 500 favorite. It's hard to find a path to victory for Striegel. But I do see him taking down Valiev. But I think Valiev is better everywhere. I think he's better on the feet. I think he's better on the mat. So give me Tamir Valiev by decision there. All right, and this fight I think is going to be pretty fun. It's both these guys tend to finish their fights win or loss inside the distance. But Carlton Minus versus Matthew Simonsberger, getting into the numbers here. Minus is 27 years old. He is 5'10", 10-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Simonsberger is 27 years old, 6'1", 73-inch reach, 6-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Simonsberger is a plus 105 underdog, and Minus is a minus 125 favorite. What I want to point out here is Minus opened up as a minus 365 favorite, which is absolutely insane. Like, watching tape on these guys, Simonsberger is someone who's going to come forward, land more shots, land the power shots. He has the power advantage. Minus is a guy that's kind of going to sit back, pick his shots from the outside. And I'm going to lean with Simonsberger in this fight. I'm going to pick the underdog. First underdog pick of the night is going to be Simonsberger. If you got him at anything, other than he's at right now, I think you got fantastic value. And, even he probably should be maybe a slight favorite, or this fight should be a pick 'em, honestly. But, both these guys are low level. I wouldn't be confident in either one, but I think Simonsberger is going to land the more shots, land the harder shots. And I'm going to pick Simonsberger to win by knockout. I think he's going to get him out of there. Probably, I'm going to say second round knockout for Simonsberger. I just like his style quite a bit. I think and especially in the small cage, where he's going to be able to, pressure a little bit more. Minus isn't going to be able to stick from the outside. So yeah, give me Simonsberger by knockout. Should be a really fun fight, and I would not be surprised at all if it did finish inside the distance. All right, and another fun fight. I mean, this is going to be a good one. Ike Villanueva versus Jordan Wright. Villanueva, he's 36 years old. He's 6'1", 73-inch reach, 16-10, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Jordan Wright, he's 28 years old. He's 6'2", 77-inch reach. He's 10-0, and he's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Of course, he got knocked out by Anthony Hernandez. But that got overturned because Hernandez got popped for, believe it or not, smoking weed. But regardless, Fluffy Hernandez was able to knock out Jordan Wright fairly quickly in that fight. But looking at the odds here, I think the odds haven't opened up. I saw it on one book, and Jordan Wright was a minus 150 favorite. I'm not sure if that's going to stick. Honestly, I was expecting Villanueva to be kind of a small favorite. So I'm waiting to see those odds, but kind of expecting Villanueva to be a slight favorite here. It seems like a lot of people are sleeping on Jordan Wright, but as how the fight goes, like, I don't know, I'm not impressed at all with Villanueva. He came in here last fight against Chase Sherman, looked absolutely awful. He just wasn't throwing much. I think he landed like 20 strikes in about a round and a half, and finally Chase Sherman was able to knock him out. And watching tape on Jordan Wright, I mean, he's fought a lot of nobodies. The first 8 fights on his record, they combined for his opponents combined for 1 win in his first 8 wins. So a lot of no names, but I kind of like his style. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's going to be the faster fighter in there. He's coming up in weight. He's 185, coming up to 205 here, and just not impressed at all with Villanueva. So I'm going to pick Jordan Wright to win this fight. I'm going to pick him to win by knockout. I think Wright's been out of the first round once, so definitely expect an early finish here, and I think that Wright's going to land that shot and knock out Villanueva here. All right, next we got a fight that was just added, and this is kind of why it took me a while to get this video out. This kind of caught me off guard here. A fight that was added just today on Wednesday here, but Dwight Grant versus Kailyn Bourne, and taking a look at the odds here, we don't have them yet, so they're still waiting for the odds. I'm expecting Grant to be probably a heavy favorite here. But getting to the numbers, Grant's 35 years old. He's 6'1", 76.5-inch reach, going to have a 2.5-inch reach advantage, 10-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Kailyn Bourne, he's 32 years old, 5'8", 74-inch reach, 7-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. I mean, Bourne, watching tape on him, he looked good, but it's really hard to, he hasn't really fought anybody. He has not fought anybody, worth naming here. But, Grant, he has been in the UFC. I think he has at 3 fights in the UFC. You know, he has some power. He has some power. The thing about Grant is he's very low volume, and that's not something I like about him. But he is going to be the harder hitter here. Watching Bourne on the feet, he didn't look too great, but it seemed like whenever he was connecting, he lands with power. I saw him knock out, you know, some guys. I saw him, you know, drop some guys and submit them. I believe Bourne's a black belt in BJJ. So if Grant, you know, comes out here and doesn't throw much, I think that would give Bourne kind of a chance. But it's just really hard to, you know, pick against Grant in this spot. You know, low volume or not, I think he's going to be the harder hitter. He has the better gas tank. Bourne has an awful gas tank. If this gets out of the first round, you know, Bourne's first round or bust. I can see Grant getting if this gets out of the first round, Grant finishing him in the second and the third. But overall, I think the more talented fighter is Grant. I'm going to pick him to win here. I'm going to say second round knockout. I think if Bourne doesn't get him out of there in the first round, then I do think that, you know, Grant's going to win this fight by knockout. So, you know, Grant's never been finished, and neither has Bourne. So I think someone's going to get finished here, and I think that Grant's going to get a knockout in that second round. But like I said, we don't have the odds there. I'm assuming he's going to be a favorite. I'd be extremely surprised if Grant was the underdog, but we'll talk about it more on the live stream from a betting standpoint. But I do think Grant gets it done. And next we have a really good fight. Like I'm really looking forward to this fight. This is a fight that a lot of people are on Austin Hubbard, and I mean I can see why. I really can. You know, the Max Roscoff fight, he looked very good. He looked very good, but the problem with that is, you know, Roscoff had about one round of gas in him. He even tweeted out a couple, you know, days before that Max was not able to train for a couple weeks, and that was a big red flag. And you know, Max was tired after that first round, but you know, when Max was fresh, he took down Hubbard twice. He was able to advance position twice as well in that first round. And it just seems like whenever someone tries to take down Hubbard, they get him down. Hubbard has a 40% takedown defense. And I thought I was going to come in here and bet Hubbard as well. I mean, I saw a lot of people on him. I said, okay, I'll dig into the tape, and you know, I was impressed with Solecki. I think he has some really good wrestling, some really good takedowns, and on the mat, he is very slick. He's able to transition to the back very well. He's able to advance position very, very well. Very tricky on the ground, and you know, I don't see Solecki coming out here and submitting Hubbard or anything. Hubbard was able to survive against Lamos, which is a very, very high-level grappler, but I don't know. I see Solecki coming in here and winning 2 of those 3 rounds. I think that in the third round it could get a little dicey because Hubbard is going to be there in the third round, and you know, a lot of question marks with Solecki and his cardio. But you know, I think Solecki will be fine in this fight. On the feet, you got to give the advantage to Hubbard. It's just, you know, Hamosh took him down twice. You know, Madsen took him down 8 times. Roscoff took him down 2 times. Like, anybody that's tried to take him down in the UFC, and even the fights before the UFC, he gets taken down. So, I got to go Solecki here. I think he's going to not mess around on the feet. I think he's going to go for takedowns right away. And as long as his gas tank holds up, I think he's going to win a decision here. So, give me Solecki. We'll take a look at the odds here. I see a lot of love for Hubbard. I think there is value because I think it could be, you know, play out really close. But Hubbard's plus 115 right now, and Solecki is minus 135. So there is money coming on Hubbard. If the line comes near a pick'em, I might have to take a shot on Solecki here. But I do think there is, you know, some recency bias with the Roscoff fight, but we really can't look into that all that much. You know what I mean? You know, Max looked pretty good in that first round, but he only had a round of gas. We can't look at that second round too much. But props to Hubbard for that win there. He came in as an underdog. So, but my pick is going to be Joe Solecki, and I'm going to pick him by decision. Probably one of the fights I'm really intrigued of watching, because it seems like I'm going against, you know, a lot of people in this fight, and that was the case with Rosenstruck JDS. That was a fight I was really looking forward to. It seemed like everybody was on JDS last week, but I really liked Rosenstruck, and he was able to get it done. So hopefully, another time I'm going against a lot of people, and hopefully I'm right. So next we got another fight I'm really looking forward to. Like, this fight is going to be good. Uzuki Inoue versus Amanda Lamos, and another popular underdog with Lamos. I see a lot of people taking shots on her, and I can see why. I mean, she looked fantastic in her last fight with getting the first round submission. I have a lot of, you know, questions about her cardio. But Inoue, she's 5'3", 64-inch reach. She's 25 years old. She's 14-5, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Lamos, she is 33 years old, 5'4" with a 65-inch reach, 7-1 and 3-1 in her last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds before we get into it. Lamos is a plus 120 underdog. Inoue is a minus 140 favorite. And I don't know. I like Inoue in this fight. I really do. I think she's going to be able to weather that storm in the first round. She's had 19 fights. She's never been finished. She's never been submitted, never been knocked out. Very, very good submission game. She was able to survive and lose a decision against Jandiroba that went 5 rounds, and we saw what Jandiroba just did. So good stuff there from Uzuki, and she really impressed me her last fight. She really did. She looked good. She's very tough. I don't see Lamos finishing her, and Lamos has finished 100% of her fights. Every fight that she has won has ended in a finish. 71% by knockout and 29% by submission with a 100% finish rate. Uzuki has a 64% finish rate by submission, no knockouts on her record. So what it comes down to for me is the cardio of Lamos. I mean, she looked tired in the Leslie Smith fight, and Leslie Smith was able to finish her in that second round standing. And I just don't see Lamos finishing Uzuki here. So for that reason, if Uzuki Inoue can survive that first round and definitely take over in the second and third, I don't know if Lamos is going to have the gas tank, So maybe Uzuki can get a late finish, but ultimately I'm going to pick Uzuki to win by decision. Again, it's a close fight if you are taking a shot on Lamos. I guess there's some value, but I don't know. I like Uzuki in this fight, so give me Uzuki and give me her by decision. All right, this is probably my pick for fight of the night. We got Daniel Rodriguez versus Takashi Sato. Rodriguez, he is 31 years old. He is 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. He is 12-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Sato, he is 30 years old. He is 5'10", 73-inch reach, 16-3 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. And probably I'm not going over the stats, by the way, for this card. There's not much to look off of. Either of these fighters have like 1 or 2 fights in the UFC, or a bunch of guys that are making their UFC debut. So not really going to get into the stats until the last 2 fights, the main and co-main. So this video is probably going to go by fast, and that's fine. But getting into the Rodriguez and Sato fight, looking at the line, so this line really surprised me. Rodriguez minus 185 and Sato plus 160. And I don't know. I thought that was a little wide. Looking before tape, I thought that I was going to come in here with a bet on Sato possibly. But after watching tape, I don't think Sato's that good. I've seen him rocked a bunch of times. I've seen him knocked out before. He got rocked by Ben Saunders, which is an awful sign right there. And he just, Rodriguez lands more. Rodriguez in his 2 fights has landed 9.5 significant strikes per minute. This guy puts on some volume. And then, when I taped Rodriguez, I was impressed. I was extremely impressed. This guy's good. He's never been finished. He has a chin on him. The durability goes to Rodriguez all day. And in a firefight, do I want to take the guy that's chinny in Sato, because I do think he is, or do I want to take the durable Rodriguez, never been finished in 13 fights, So I'm going to pick Rodriguez to win here. I think Sato's live, especially in that first round. But if Rodriguez's chin holds up, I have him all day. I think he's going to win a volume-based decision, or even just maybe knock out Sato in the later rounds. So I'm going to go Rodriguez. I'm going to say second round knockout for Rodriguez. I think he's going to get Sato out of there. I've just seen Sato rocked many times before. I think that Rodriguez has some great power, and he's going to knock him out. So Rodriguez, for me, ask for a bet. The line is a little too wide. Hopefully the line comes down. I see some people on Sato. So maybe the line comes down a little bit. If it gets to minus 150, minus 140, maybe take a shot on Rodriguez. But ultimately, I do think that Rodriguez should be the favorite. Just watching tape, I think he's the more talented fighter. But yeah, give me Rodriguez. All right, next we got the People's Main Event. Maria Agapova versus Shanna Dobson. What a mess we have, What a mess of a fight this is. But, shout out to Shanna Dobson. She won me a lot of money. Her last fight against Priscilla Ketchabeating. It seemed like everybody was betting on Shanna Dobson. And I had a nice bet on Priscilla Ketchabeating. I wasn't expecting Ketchabeating to go in there and knock out Dobson, but she knocked her out in the first minute of the fight. So shout out Dobson for that. But as for this fight goes, Agapova's a young, talented up-and-comer. 23 years old, 5'6", 68-inch reach, 9-1, 4-1 in the last 5 fights. Dobson, she's 31 years old, 5'6", 69-inch reach, 3-4, and then 2 and 3 in the last 5 fights. As for the fight goes, I mean, not much to say. Agapova's, going to win this fight. It's whether, is she going to do it in the first round or in the second round? For me, because I do want to bet Agapova, and I am looking at some numbers. I like the minus. I like the under 1.5 rounds is something I'm looking at, or even Agapova in round 1 is another bet I'm looking at as well. I don't see a path to victory for Dobson here, and I don't know if she can survive a whole round with Agapova. Maybe she does, but if Priscilla catch a beating, someone who is not known for power whatsoever is knocking you out in the first round, how are you going to fare against someone in Agapova who is a much better fighter than Priscilla Ketchup-Beating, a much better fighter with much more upside. But looking at the line here, minus 1250 for Agapova, minus 1250, and I can't say it's too wide. I think the line's justified. I think she should be around a minus 1,000 favorite because I can't find a path to victory for Dobson. It would have to be some type of fluky finish, and I just don't see that happening. So it's Agapova for me all day. Like I said, I'm going to look at the under 1.5 rounds. Really hard to see Dobson surviving over that 1.5 mark. Even Agapova in the first round, it's hard to see Dobson surviving those first 5 minutes because Agapova's going to bring it. She's going to bring it, and she's going to try to get Dobson out of there. So yeah, give me Agapova. I'm going to pick her to win by first round knockout for Agapova there. But it should be fun while it lasts. I think Agapova has a bright future ahead of her for sure. Getting into this next fight, and not too thrilled with this fight. We'll take a look at the betting lines first. Mike Rodriguez is a minus 235 favorite. Marcin Procteo is plus 195, and it's tough. I mean, Mike Rodriguez, he's 31 years old. He's 6'4" with the 82.5-inch reach, 10-4, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Marcin Procteo, 32 years old, 6'4", 13-3, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. I like Rodriguez to win. I don't like that line. Rodriguez is someone who has lost as a minus 400 favorite against John Allen. He's lost as like a minus 230 favorite as well. It's just you can't trust him, especially at a line like that. But this is a winnable fight for him. I do question Rodriguez's durability. And at the same time, I question Procteo's durability. Procteo's been finished 3 times by strikes. Rodriguez has been finished twice, once by knockout and once by submission. I guess what it comes down to is Rodriguez is the better fighter here. He really is, but you can't trust him. I think he's the more athletic fighter. I think he probably, he's not the most durable guy, but he's probably more durable than Procteo. We've seen Procteo get finished by Sam Alvey, Magomed Ankalaev. No shame in that, but coming off of 2 knockout losses for Procteo, taking a 2-year layoff, it's just really hard to pick him here. I think the line, could be closer because I do think someone's getting knocked out, and I think someone's getting knocked out fairly early. But if anything, I might bet the under 1.5, especially if it's plus money. Don't have the odds on that in front of me, but under 1.5, it's hard to see this fight really getting out of the first round really. In both Procteo's fights in the UFC, he was finished in the first round. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Mike Rodriguez to get the knockout. But it's don't bet Mike Rodriguez. It's someone who's really untrustworthy. But ultimately, he should get the job done. I'm going to go first round knockout for Mike Rodriguez. All right, next we got a fight I'm really looking forward to. 2 guys I'm fans of. Alonzo Menifield, he is 32 years old. He's 6 foot with a 76-inch reach, 9-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. OSP, 37 years old, my bad. 6'3" with the 80-inch reach, going to have a 4-inch reach advantage, 24-14, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So we're finally going to get into some numbers for this, for this fight here. But Menifield lands 3.6 significant strikes per minute with a 47% accuracy, absorbs 4.72 significant strikes per minute with a 40% striking defense. As for St. Preux, 2.49 significant strikes landed per minute. St. Preux has a 42% striking accuracy. He absorbs 3.97 with a 44% striking defense. As for the grappling stats here, Ovens lands 1.14 takedowns per 15 minutes, which is a very important stat because ultimately I do think it's going to come down to the takedowns in this fight. St. Preux has a 31% takedown accuracy. Menifield has an 85% takedown defense, which is also going to be important to note later on. But as for the finish stats, Menifield's finished all of his wins 78% by knockout, 22% by sub, 100% finish rate. OSP 42% by KO, 38% by sub, 80% finish rate. Kind of would be surprised if this did go to decision. But Menifield's never been knocked out, never been submitted. His one loss is a decision to Devin Clark. And then OSP, 2 knockout losses, 3 losses by submission. We'll take a look at the odds here. Menifield is a minus 130 favorite, and OSP is a plus 110 underdog. And I have a bet on this fight. I'll let you guys know right now. This is my only bet on the card so far. There's a lot of spots I'm looking at, but this is the one I locked up because I am fairly confident in it. And I have a bet on Alonzo Menifield minus 130, 1.5 units on it. And I'll tell you why. I mean, watching the fight back with Devin Clark, at the time, it was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing performance. But I went back and watched it, and I saw a lot of good things come out of that loss. Menifield was going in there 9-0, undefeated. And sometimes a fighter needs that first loss to, really, challenge them, get some adversity for him. Menifield's never been through some adversity. He was definitely, put through some adversity in the Clark fight. And some things I liked was Menifield's takedown defense. He's a strong dude. It was really hard for Devin Clark to get him down. It took Clark 8 tries to get Menifield down, and Menifield was gassed really, really bad. Menifield stuffed the first 7 attempts of Clark, and that's something I really liked seeing from Menifield. And even when Menifield was gassed in that second and third round, he was still able to stuff most of those shots. So that was great to see there. And OSP doesn't have the wrestling of Clark. It's not even close. So ultimately, I think this plays out on the feet. And I know a lot of people are going to talk about Menifield's gas tank. That's fair, I know, but OSP's gas tank isn't much better, And then I saw a picture of Menifield on Twitter, and he looked slimmed down. He looked like he's been putting in some work, hopefully working on that cardio. He looked a lot slimmer, a lot less, muscle. He's still, built, but he looked good. He looked good. So, OSP is someone who I think is on his way out. Went up to heavyweight his last fight, fought Ben Rothwell, was not able to get it done. Not a great look there whatsoever. Coming back down, 37 years old. He hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked good. Menifield, still a great prospect, 9-1. I think he needed that first loss to really, really get it going. So what I wanted to point out is Menifield almost knocked out Clark. He hurt him in that first round. What would the line be if Menifield knocked out Clark? You think Menifield would be at minus 130? I don't think so. I think Menifield would be like a minus 200 favorite, even bigger than that if he was able to knock out Clark, especially going against OSP here, who is on his way out. But, like I said, I have a bet on Menifield. I like it quite a bit. I think the only path to victory for OSP would be if Menifield gassed bad like he did in the Clark fight. But there's a lot of, up against the cage, a lot of Clark trying to take Menifield down, and Menifield putting all his strength into stuffing those takedowns, and I think that really wore out Menifield. But if OSP gets him down, I think he does submit him. The thing is, I don't think he gets him down. I don't think OSP has the wrestling, and like I said, I was very impressed with Menifield's takedown defense. For that reason, I did place a bet on Menifield, my only bet so far. I'll go over my other bets, whether it's on Twitter or the live stream on Friday. But give me Menifield, and yeah, I like it quite a bit. I like those odds, minus 130. I think that if he did beat Clark, he would be a bigger favorite. I think we're getting some value. But could OSP spoil the party? Could Menifield go out there and gas again? Maybe OSP gets him down? Yeah, I find it really hard to, see OSP getting him down. And that's the big thing for me. So give me Alonzo Menifield. I'm going to say second round knockout. I'm going to say early second round, he gets him out of there. People talk about how bad Menifield's gas tank is. I don't think OSP's gas tank is much better. Obviously, it is better, but not much. OSP has gassed out plenty of times before as well. So, Menifield by knockout. All right, next we got the main event. And, I'm very intrigued with this fight. We have Frankie Edgar, has not been looking all that great lately. Pedro Munhoz, a fighter I'm pretty high on personally. And we're going to get into some of the stats for this fight, and I think they're important here. We're going to talk about them. Pedro Munhoz, he is 33 years old. He has 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. He's going to be at a 7-inch reach advantage, which is pretty crazy to think about. He's 18-4, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Edgar, he's 38 years old, which is something to note for sure. He's 5'6", 72-inch reach, 23-8, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So getting into the striking stats here, Munhoz averages 5.29 significant strikes per minute with a 42% striking accuracy. He absorbs 6.17 significant strikes per minute. A lot of those, was because of the Sterling fight. But 57% striking defense from Munhoz. As for Edgar, he averages 3.6 significant strikes per minute, so more volume coming out of Munhoz. Edgar has a 40% striking accuracy. He absorbs only 2.48 though, with a 68% striking defense. As for the grappling stats, and I think this is going to play a big factor in this fight, Munhoz averages 0.92 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 21% takedown accuracy, and this is a big stat here. Munhoz has an 81% takedown defense, very good takedown defense. Edgar averages 2.34 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 31% accuracy, 65% takedown defense. As for the finish stats, Munhoz has finished 72% of his wins, 22 by knockout, 50% by submission. And then Frankie Edgar has finished 47% of his wins, 30% by knockout, 17% by submission. So Munhoz has never been knocked out. He's never been submitted. Edgar's been knocked out twice. But we'll take a look at the odds and then we'll get into it a little bit. But Edgar's a big favorite. Munhoz is a big favorite. He's minus 255 and Edgar is plus 215. And I'll tell you guys right now, I'm going with Munhoz in this fight. I think that Edgar is on his way out. I really do. He has not been looking good. I do question the durability at this point. I question his chin. I know he's been knocked out twice in like 31, 32 fights, but I do question where his durability is at this point. Coming down a weight class at 38 years old, it's not a good sign. But as for Munhoz, he hits very hard. Very, very good takedown defense. Very good submissions as well. He has a very good guillotine. So will Edgar even want to shoot a takedown on Munhoz? Very, very dangerous on the ground. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to play out on the feet. I can see Edgar maybe. I don't see him holding Munhoz down. I really don't. But maybe he gets him down. I think Munhoz will be able to pop back up. And on the feet, Munhoz throws more. I think he's the more dangerous fighter. And I think he's the more durable fighter. Like, Munhoz is very durable. He was taking a lot of shots from Sterling. But, yeah. I'm going to go with Munhoz here. I'm going to pick him to win. It's tough because, I don't know, Edgar has been durable throughout his career, but at this point in his career, I really question where that durability is at this point. So I'm going to pick Munhoz to win by, I'm going to say third round knockout. I think he's going to get him out of there in that third round. And, as for betting this fight, I am going to be looking at the Munhoz inside the distance. If you want to bet him by decision, if you think Edgar's chin's going to hold up, Munhoz by decision is like plus 300. But I don't know. I really do question where Edgar's durability is at this point. 38 years old, I think he's on his way out. Munhoz is someone who I'm really high on, but it's hard to count out a guy like Edgar. It really is. But I'm gonna go with Munhoz to win by third round knockout. All right, guys, that's about it. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I know it's not the best card in the world, but there are still opportunities to make some money. Have been profitable my last 7 out of 8 events. I'm on a 2-card winning streak as well. I know the last card wasn't the best card, but was still able to come out with some profit. But I do have one bet so far, and that's Menifield minus 130. I'll be getting into my other bets on Friday on the live stream. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm good with replying right away. Instagram, I'm good with replying right away. My DMs are always open. But with that said, like this video. It really helps me out. Means a ton. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Trying to get 6,000 subscribers by the time football season starts. Would be nice to hit that 6,000 mark going into the NFL season. If you guys are into the NFL, going to have some content coming very soon. And of course, sorry for getting this video out a day late. But with that new fight kind of threw me off guard. I wanted to take the time to correctly, watch the tape and not rush anything. So thank you guys for watching. Kind of a shorter video this week compared to like 50 minutes last week, but short and sweet for you guys. And just one final reminder, tune in Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, going over my, my final thoughts, betting, DraftKings, weigh-ins, all that. And then Saturday, I'll be doing a betting breakdown. It seemed like a lot of people like that. So with that said, good luck, guys, and let's win some money this weekend.